This might be the best amplifier ever, or at least it's probably the best amplifier that I've ever owned for a guy like me. And I'll explain what that means here in a second. This is the Henriksen Bud 6. In this first part of the video, I'm going to give you kind of the TLDR, and later on, I'm going to do an unboxing and sort of a brief demo and really my first impressions. It's not so much about the demo, it's more about the impressions that I get. And why do I say that? This is not an amplifier that I'm going to take to a gig to mic up, although that you could do that with this. This amplifier is a problem-solving solution for a guy like me. What does that mean? Guy like me. I do rock bands, country bands, and the gigs associated with those bands. I do wedding gigs. I do cocktail hours, solo guitar music. I teach lessons, and I want a small portable speaker to take with me to teach lessons if I'm teaching on location that also sounds good. And I mean like professional quality good, not practice amp, it'll get the job done sort of good. I'm really particular about my tone, even in a lesson room, because that's a part of learning the guitar. And something that I've been asking myself when I'm going to a rehearsal or going to a gig or something is, do I need to provide my own volume? My own stage volume, my own volume in a rehearsal space to compete with a drummer, these sorts of things. And if the answer is yes, usually my solution would be to grab one of my QSC K10s or one of my QSC K12s that need a little bit of extra oomph. But honestly, at 1,000 watts at a bigger and a much heavier package, that's actually probably a little bit too much that I don't really need. Now, I love those speakers, K10, the K12. However, this is 13 pounds. And it's the size of my head. I mean, look at this. It's almost too good to be true, and it's stupid. It's crazy. This is plenty loud. My first impression, and I was actually worried, like, okay, it's a 6.5-inch speaker with a tweeter. Like, is that really going to get the sonic job done? And so far, here in my studio, absolutely yes. I was like, I should get the 10-inch speaker because it's a 10-inch speaker. Guitar speakers, 10 is the minimum that you need. No, this thing has a crazy amount of bass. It's got a bass port on the bottom. It's got a full tonal spectrum that is almost too hard to describe. I thought it was going to sound small. I thought it was going to sound, putting it on the floor was just going to be very isolated to that one spot. This is a room-filling device, especially here in my studio that you see behind me. I've got a wedding that I'm doing tomorrow that I'm going to be taking this to, outdoor wedding, so I want to see how it holds up there. And I've got a rehearsal that I'll be doing in 2 nights with a drummer, and I'll be taking it and see how it does there. But my overall first impressions are this thing is plenty at 120 watts and a 6.5-inch speaker with a tweeter. Now, other things that I like about this, just real quick before I get into more of the full unboxing and first impressions. It's 2 channels. I like that it's 2 channels because in a very simple setup, I can do an acoustic guitar and a microphone, or 2 sources or something like that. This one has the independent gain settings, so I can independently set the level of gain that I need for a microphone versus what I might need for an acoustic guitar. It also features independent effects loops. So one thing that I'm going to try with, if you guys know me before, by the way, my name is Matthew Dale. I'm here to help you play better, sound great, and understand more. One thing that I'm going to try with this, using the effects loop, is run a microphone into one of the channels, do the effects loop out to one of my Fractal devices, process my vocal through the FM, probably the FM9 is going to be the most appropriate, or the Axe FX3 with that, and then run my guitar tones into the return of the other channel and use this as a small, very tiny little thing to provide my stage volume and to provide my overall sound that I would probably be sending to front of house, left and right on output 1, or left and right output 1 and left output 2 for my vocals. So I'm sending independent things. So this is not necessarily something that I'm going to be generating tones with. Although, with the case of if I plug in a microphone, then yes. But for my guitar tones, no. I want it to recreate the tones that I already put in my modelers, but in a high-fidelity package, in a very portable package. So when I plug this in and play it later, just to be fully transparent, I'm just picking it up with this mic because I'm giving my first impressions. So it doesn't sound very good. It doesn't actually represent what is happening here in the room because I'm not concerned with ever miking this up. And generally speaking, it's just harder to mic a full range speaker system. You never mic an FR. It's not the point of them. And I'm kind of treating this the same way, even though it's more of a hybrid. Between like a full range flat response and something that is more like an amp speaker. It's more like a hybrid. Maybe even more like an acoustic amplifier for that. Later on in the demo, I do use the direct out so you can hear my guitar tones through this direct out to see what that will give you. And so far, how I've used this, going on the top panel, going and plugging in my modelers into the effects return, it's been fabulous, and I cannot express enough, just my first impressions, how good this has been within just the first couple of days that I've had it. Later on my channel, I am going to give this the proper review and demo that it deserves, so stay tuned for that on my channel. You can subscribe if you want to subscribe, and here is just my unboxing and first impressions in a little bit of a long form of something that I think is a killer product that probably all guitar players should have. Okay, so let's go ahead and pop the top on this guy. I apologize for the obligatory YouTube unboxing video, but I'm pretty excited about this one, so I decided to do it anyway. And a couple things that I'm really excited about. I don't know if you can see right here, but 17 pounds of shipping weight on this thing, and it's tiny. Here are my hands for reference. Of course, we got the Bud, the 2-channel. I like that we have the design of the grill on the front cover, and it's already small, especially as amplifiers are concerned, just in the box. So let's go ahead and slice this guy open. I'm going to try to not cut anything I shouldn't, which of course would make me really sad. Might make for a funny YouTube video, you know, a fail, as it were. Guy buys $1,400 amplifier and ruins it in an instant. Funny for you, not for me. All right. Or, you know, slices his finger. Any number of things. All right, let's put this thing away and get this out. So, a couple things that I do know about this that I already like. Let's get these guys out. I like that they pack it up, of course, you know, nice and snug. We've got an IEC. Ooh, and a longer IEC from what it looks like. It actually looks like it's more than just like a foot long that doesn't, you know, actually mean anything. So that actually looks like it's reasonably long. And I don't know if it says it, but that's great. I love that. I also bought, oh, this is great. This is like small too, small enough to kind of go in the pouch. I bought the amp wedge when I got it because I like to angle my amps up, and this thing just kind of folds out like this, I believe. One of those, and set the amp on here. Henriksen angles it up a little bit. That's cool. I probably would have liked there to have been maybe a I don't know, maybe a, how does this go back together? I'm assuming like that. Maybe a kickstand, like, I don't know, the AERs or some other amplifiers have, or my previous aforementioned acoustic image had a stand on it. But I got the wedge. We'll see how that works. So, moment of reveal here. Nothing left in the box. And here is the Bud in all of its compact goodness. Again, look at this. This is how big this thing is. I like that it's got a really big compartment on the front of the bag. I like that it comes with the bag. Let's go ahead and throw this IEC in here. And you know what? Let's go ahead and throw the wedge in there too. And I still got plenty of space. I've got enough space for definitely my HX Stomp. I don't know if I got enough space for the FM9. I don't believe so. But, you know, one can only hope. But definitely the HX Stomp. That's going to make for a very nice, compact, soft handle there. Compact rig when I need it. And just like we've kind of seen, or I've seen in the picture, we got this like blue velour sort of thing, and then pop it up and take it out. Put the bag down there, and again, it's just, I haven't plugged it in yet. This is, I mean, you literally just saw me open the taped box. This is, it's almost laughably small. I'm really looking forward to plugging this in and just seeing if it's as good as they say. So yeah, I'm gonna just kind of go over the front. This is the 6.5 inch speaker version. It's got the 1-inch tweeter on the very bottom. We have the port that's underneath the bass port. It feels solid. You know, I mean, it's only 13 pounds, but it does feel really well built and solid. Good handle on it, comfortable big leather handle. Some of the things that I am really excited about right off the bat. Not really the line out, because if I'm using one of my modelers, I'm just going to go straight to front of house from the modelers. I mean, this is a kind of a nice feature, I guess. I love the independent effects loops. Channel 1 can have its own effects loop. Channel 2 can have its own effects loop. More on how I plan to use these in the future. We've got the selectable tweeter on and off. I love that. And here is our 8 ohm minimum external speaker, which is great. And you can actually defeat the speaker that's in here by plugging into the headphones, but it does not defeat the external out. So I could use this as a clean power amp for my modelers and go into a guitar cab, which I'm going to try as well. Lots of versatility in this thing. Of course, 2 channels, and each of the channels has its own independent input gain or input sensitivity, as you might see it on some mixing consoles. This is kind of like a really tiny 2-channel mixer PA sort of thing, because it does give us a little bit more of a full range speaker output, or a full range. I hesitate to say full range flat response. That's not really what this is designed to do. But if you are going to be amplifying vocals, which this can do, other instruments, acoustic instruments, it has to be designed with full range in mind, which I'm going to use a lot of. Independent volumes, Bluetooth on and off, aux in. We've got the 5-band EQ on the top here, and then we've got the reverb controls for each channel over here as well. I'm going to plug it in and fire it up. Okay, so I've got my DGT on the neck pickup called in here, or plugged in here, I guess I should say. You're going to be hearing from my vocal mic. I don't have this really like mic'd up, or I don't have the DI running in quite yet. I might do some of that stuff a little bit later. This is just like literally my first impressions plugging this in. So this, I have got the tweeter off, and it does like the whole like polytone thing. Very clean, very clear. And it does, like, if you hit those like complex-ish chords, usually on a Fender, like, it'll bark out. On this, it stays like really tight and clean, and it's really punchy. Little bit of the lows turned down, a little bit on the high mids, or the low mids up, high mids pushed a little bit, and then a little presence treble I've kind of left just right in the middle. Volume is up at about 1 o'clock, and it's loud, louder than it's louder than it should be, punching me like right in the chest. But I really kind of want to hear this thing. If I turn up the sensitivity or the gain a little bit, it still doesn't really break up, which is nice. If I really kind of crank this, of course the volume's down. Still doesn't really break up, which I mean, it's so clean. And there it really kind of comes alive at right around like noon with these. So I guess if I was playing this straight in, I got a little bit of the reverb on it. It's kind of hall-ish, maybe a little plate-ish. A plated hall or a hallway made out of plates. I don't know, something like that. Sounds decent. If I was playing this like in more of a straight-ahead jazz sort of setting, then I'd probably, with this guitar and probably with my other PRS, I'd probably leave these right around noon. It just kind of wakes things up a little bit. Yeah, that feels really good, and it's like plenty loud for right now. I was a little bit hesitant on the 6-inch speaker, and I don't have this on the floor. I just have this kind of sitting on my stool, but I was a little bit hesitant on the sound dispersion of the 6-inch, not necessarily the overall volume. So I'll test that stuff later. I've got a couple of rehearsals with a drummer that I'm really looking forward to actually trying this out with. Right now here, just in my studio, it's sounding really good. It's shaking other things within my studio from this point, which, you know, take that as you will. I'm gonna plug in some modelers to it, and let's see what it sounds like. All right, so I have my FM9 right over there plugged in, and I'm gonna give it probably the most ridiculous test out of a box that is literally 9 by 9 by 9, this 9 by 9 by 9-inch cube with a 6.5-inch speaker in it, and I'm going to put my Boston preset through it and just see how it handles. Now, obviously, I've got nothing in the top panel. The gain is off. The channel volumes will still work. The EQ is going to be off. The reverb I don't need on because that will still be active post the, if I turn this around here, post the effects loop. So I'm going into the effects loop with just a regular instrument cable because the return of the effects loop, it's one jack, but it's a stereo jack. The return is the tip. So that means if you're going from a modeler, you can just do regular instrument cable into the back here. The ring, so in a TRS sense, the ring would be the send, so you need kind of like a breakout cable if you want to do like actual effects loop things, which I might do in a bit. I'm still running the tweeter off, and on the modeler, it's literally the same setting as I always have, as if I'm going into an FRFR. Cabinet modeling is in place, and power amp modeling is in place. And this is the clean setting, bridge pickup. So that, I don't need the tweeter active for that. That sounds really good, actually. And the channel volume is like, I'm at 9 o'clock. I could go more. I'm going to do this right now. It might be... I believe that the effects loop should be line level +4. I'm just going to go over here and see if this changes. If I do, I'm doing output 2. If I do output 2 to -10... or output 1, I guess I should say. I don't know if there's a big difference in like headroom. Yeah, I don't think there's much of a big difference in like headroom. I think everything is staying reasonably clean. As far as the amplifier goes, I might be getting a little bit of simulated, modeling amp breakup from the USA pre-clean, although this is a very clean amplifier as well. Let's just go back to the Bud. And I'm going to go back because I really want to hear what this sounds like on... There's a good amount of high end. It's not harsh. I hear it though, and the tweeter is off. So let's go over to the Rockman sound. Yeah, that sounds pretty great. Yeah, it holds up. And it's like, it's killing my ears right now. I'm doing this for the sake of YouTube. I mean, I'm literally right here. I'm going to put it on the floor, like, where it would be for a rehearsal here in a second, just to kind of play and say some of my final thoughts. But that is pretty impressive out of just a small little box like this that weighs under 15 pounds. Let's do my harmony. I'm not going to do the lead because it's right in front of me. I'm going to just do the harmony. As I forget how to play that part. Yeah, that's killer.